Yo, this is Guido coming at you with What Corner Tactics Talk. We are going to talk about hold down, give you a couple videos showing you how to do it. Seems like a fairly simple concept, but there are some things we can learn about being hold down. We've got a Himmelsdorf match for the first one, encounter mode, at which the hill is one of the more important parts of the map. The team that can grab the hill and then move down below after having taken the hill typically is going to win on this map. So we'll show you what we got going on. I am moving up. I'm in a T34 US Tier 8 American Heavy Premium Tank that has great depression and a great turret. So I'm going to roll right up here, and I am now hold down, and I'm going to be able to get some shots. Alright, what's hold down? Most people know, but if you don't, it means I'm protecting my hole. I'm covering it with something, in this case some rubble, and the hill itself. You can see that as I poke up, I'm just barely showing my turret, minimizing what people can see. I choose not to shoot the IS-7 because he's heavily armored, and I'll take the more easily pinned Pershing, plus he's out on the outside. See how he approached without the cover out in the open? That's a sure way to get dead fast. And I'll continue to use the hold down capability here of the T34. Notice that I just bounced a shot from the IS-7 because I'm showing him only my turret, which is very tough. This ISU is going to come up behind the IS-7, and unfortunately for him, I am going to find a way to get a shot on him. The IS-7 is going to move, and he's going to creep forward. He's going to show me his superstructure right there, and I'll punch one right through him. And I'm continuing to use the hold down capability of the T-34 here at the top of this hill. IS-7's doing a nice job side scraping, and here we've got my counterpart over there, the prototype. At least initially it was hold down, and now he's moved up out into the open, and that's going to make him quite vulnerable. I've got to wait for my reload, and as soon as I'm reloaded, I'll come on up here and see if I can get some shots. Now we've got the IS-7 is doing some good side scraping, so I'm going to limit his capability to kind of pop out, see if I can't help that 50M. I take a shot on his back sprocket there and track him. I'm going to try to do this again. That time he actually over-angled. You'll see that I did damage on him. It's a good example of slightly over-angling, not giving me the auto bounce angle, and I'm able to punch through. Now we've got the Rheinmetall. So of course I've abandoned the hold down because we're winning up at the top here, and we're able to move up and swarm what tanks are left. We'll go around the T-32. Unfortunately I ran him. Did not really need to do that. See if I can get a shot on the Rheinmetall. Take him out as he tries to get away, and we have one up top. So we basically overwhelmed them up top. I think we had a couple more tanks than they did. If you take a look down, I haven't talked about it, but if you look at the bottom of the map or over on the west side down by the cap, they sent 4 or 5 tanks down there, as did we, and they kind of did a little peeking and poking and prodding each other, but there's nothing decisive, and nobody jumped on the cap. I'll actually miss there. I'm trying to work. I'm sort of actually hold down right there behind the T-32. You also notice that I'm using the terrain right here to just barely poke my turret up and over to minimize the amount of my tank that is exposed to that IS-3 shooting back. So there's a point where I'm actually hold down, but it's a downhill kind of slope just based on how much lower the tanks below me are. See if I get one more shot on this guy. There we go. At 2,900 damage. Kind of minimizing my exposure, although at this point now I've kind of got my hole showing to the Bulldog. He's just trying to run through. He dies. Get another shot down there, and we're cleaning up on aisle 2. That's about it. Nothing much left to shoot. So 3100 is going to be an Ace Tanker for my T-34 using the strengths of this tank. Hold down capability over on that side. You can do the same thing from this side, roughly the same thing. This angle's a little higher, at least as far as the ramp coming up, so it's a little bit more difficult than it is on the other side. The other side has a bit of an advantage, but you can do it from both sides, and that shows you a good example of how to hold down, which means I am protecting my tank with something. In this case, I'm able to use the ramp as I was coming up to protect it, but it could be rubble. It could be another tank that you're jamming up against. It could be an ally, of all things. There's lots of ways to do it, but hold down in this game anyway is referring to minimizing the amount of exposure to your tank to return fire. All right, so we'll move on to the next one and show you another example. Alright, welcome back. It's Guido again. We just looked at the Himmelsdorf hold down example. I've got the T34 American heavy tank, premium tank. Once again here, I'm going to show you some more examples of hold down gameplay. This time we're on Muravanka, and we are heading over here to the east side and going to start working some of the hills and terrain and show you some hold down capability of this tank and other tanks that can do the same thing. Realize there are no arty in this game, so that is going to be a very permissive environment for the things that I'm going to do. Some of the things I'm going to do here, if you do with a bunch of arty in the game, is probably going to get you smacked a bit. But of course you're going to analyze the enemy, you're going to analyze your tanks and the map that you're on and the mode, and then make decisions like that. In this case, I knew I could kind of get behind some things and just sort of sit there. So I'll move up. Moving down here to the low part on the east side of this map is a great place for a T34 or any tank that has good depression. I rammed the Panther, that's not good. Didn't really mean to do that. Try not to ram your allies because basically you're going to knock their aim off. We'll pop this guy, Centurion 1, and do some damage. And I'm just going to back up right here. So it's a little bit difficult right there. It's kind of a high hill for the hold down capability on the T34. So I'm going to maneuver a little bit to get a better look. And we'll take out this Centurion. And now I've got a super, a mod, a T34-85, and some other cats and dogs, a Rudy, and some other things back there. So since I don't have any arty poking at me, I can go ahead and move up in here. And I'm going to go to this next piece of terrain. See how that little rise right there is in front of me, protecting me from, at least my hull, from the super Pershing. I'm going to try to get right into his corner, and I end up blasting straight into that big armored plate. And I'm going to back up just to minimize the amount of time that I am exposed to him. The other thing you'll notice I'm doing, and I'll zoom out a little bit here, if I can make it happen, is I'm rocking back and forth only to spoil any shots he may be trying to take on that top hatch right there. And then when I want to take a shot, I'll move in, zoom in, and take a shot. I'm also slightly angled so that when I move back and forth, there's a slight lateral right and left, or left and right, depending on which way I'm currently moving, movement to that hatch, so it's not a straight on forward and back, which makes it more difficult for them to hit. You can see that I'm starting to use this hold down capability right here on the T34. Take a shot on the IS-6. On the recording, it's kind of hard to see that I have actually highlighted that guy. And now we're starting to win. So I'm back here. No need right now to move up. I'm able to keep my hull protected from the Mod 1 and the IS-6. Because had I just come over that hill and exposed my hull, when they came around their little piece of terrain over there, they would have had a direct shot into me if I was spotted. So I've got the Panther kind of keeping track of those guys, or keeping them busy. Thought I'd get a shot on the Rudy there, but I don't. A little bit dangerous because I'm coming up high on this terrain. You can see that I'm exposing myself to fire from all those guys. So I'm going to drop back down low and start to use this terrain right in front of me. You can see that the Mod 1 and the I-6 are doing the same thing with that little piece of terrain that they have. The I-6 comes around, but he gets popped. And the T-34 is not going to have a lot of trouble penning an IS-6. So we've got another customer coming in, and they're all trying to use their hold down capability there. We'll take the Rudy out. I'm also angling still, though. And see, he had a pretty clear shot at my hull at that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up to this next piece of terrain. Here comes the Mod 1. He bounces. He's not firing gold, so that's hurting him a little bit. I'm going to try to angle. Looks like the IS-6 went after somebody behind me. I'm bouncing again, just making it very difficult for them to get a straight shot onto my hull, and I'm angled, just to make it even more difficult for them. And that's fine. If he wants to keep backing up, that makes me happy, because every bit he backs up, I'm more protected. We'll take him out. We're up to 3,300, and I've got an M6 T34-85. M6 dies, and I'll just come around. I'm being a little more aggressive here since it's a 34-85. I have a decent chance of actually bouncing any shots from him. Zoom in there and take him out. Oh, there's a 25/2. He gets disintegrated because he got spotted. No longer a problem. So he had nice shots on me without my hull being protected. Now we'll come up here, and I'm going to use the same thing I've been doing. I'm going to use this little rise in terrain. I'm only going to poke up enough that my turret comes up over the top, and I can get a silhouette highlight on the Su-152. We'll take him out and rinse and repeat. There's the ISU-122, same thing. Again, you can't see that the silhouette is lit up, but I can see him, and I'll take him out as well. That brings me up to 4,300. I believe the Scorpion will cease to exist here pretty soon. He gets spotted, and I'll come up over. So you can see, as I was moving up on that east side, the whole time I did it, I was very careful to try to keep my hole protected at all times as best I could. When I needed to advance, I did so. Just basically using the capabilities of a tank like the T34 US Heavy and its ability to hold down. So those are two examples on how to do it. Y'all take care.